Hello and welcome, I'm Eric Toozle and I will show you my 12 rules for business. They are a recipe for you to stay sane and face up to the chaos and challenges of business. They're a powerful tool. They'll help you maintain a strategic perspective while keeping your feet on the ground. In other words, not ivory tower stuff, but feet on the ground strategy. Now, after discussing the 12 rules, I'll tell you more about myself, my 20-minute business strategy makeover, my 4 steps towards a total life makeover, my free business breakthrough consultation, which is, in my view, the best way you can get something for free. When you send in your request, I will immediately give you access to the 20-minute business strategy makeover and the 4 steps towards a total life makeover. Now, I've also written this book, which has gone to #1 on Amazon, but more about me a bit later. For now, let's get stuck into the 12 rules for business. The 12 rules for business are focused on what you measure, what you do, and what support you put in place. Now, there are 4 metrics, 5 actions, and 3 support pillars, the 12 rules. I'll discuss each one, and I'll point out how they interact, and I'll give examples at the end to demonstrate how they could be used. Now, if each one is approached separately, we get exactly the same problem as silo thinking, the echo chamber effect. The whole purpose of these 12 rules is to enable systems thinking. Their strength is that they are used as a whole and they are meant to foster cooperation. But first, a warning to avoid developing too much detail. Creating a goal and a sub-goal and a sub-goal, and you can see how this can carry on. And then we're all confused about the detail. And this is just one of 7 pages of information and systems for strategic planning. It's a screenshot I took on a Google search. And you don't want this level of detail and confusion. You need a map like this. The purpose is to carve out a route with only the necessary detail. If you want to go from Boston to the Empire State Building in New York in the USA, then the thin blue line, the route, is what you take. You don't need to know every town, every road, every landmark, every possible obstacle on your way. You just need to know the route. And business planning and coaching is a bit like that. Let's carve out the route. Now, as a tour guide or a taxi driver, you will need to know everything. That will be your business. But that is not what you are doing when you do business planning at a strategic level. And that's where you should start. So to plan is to develop the roadmap. And you're trying to train yourself in strategic thinking, not every possible business technique. Please keep this perspective because it will prevent you from getting into detail and getting distracted. Now, the 4 metrics creates a uniting purpose, focusing everyone on the same goals. The whole idea is uniting purpose, the same goals. And the 4 metrics are profit, sales, products and services, customers. Simply put, to make a profit, we need to sell. To sell, we need products and services that customers are willing to buy. In fact, the biggest trick in business, if you have something that people will buy, you have the makings of a business. The rest is coloring in. It's not that simple, really, but if you don't have a product that people want to buy or a service that they want to use, then nothing else is going to work. None of our methods, systems, diagrams, anything else. So keep these 4 in mind and let them be this uniting purpose. The 5 actions focuses very clearly on major actions. They are there so that everyone can understand their role and see how it affects others in the business. That's simple. The 5 actions are operate, so that's make, produce, design your products. And it could be how you handle supplies and deliveries, your logistics. Market, get attention from prospective buyers. Sell, make sales, convince the customer to buy from you. And customer support, that is if you have a type of product like software or large machinery that needs systems and how it operates or how it works. But if you sell coffee in a coffee shop, well, maybe not required to have much customer support after they've drunk the coffee, as you could imagine. Innovate, research and development to keep up and to stay competitive and to find improvements for every aspect in your actions, but even in your 3 support pillars. The 3 support pillars are exactly what they say. It'll become clear soon, but fundamentally they are there to support the actions to achieve the goals. And they are systems, people, lead and manage. We need systems for each of the actions to achieve goals, and we need people in those systems or doing those actions. People is fundamental, and you will see a little bit more of this later. And we need to lead and manage, and more about lead and manage also. Now this is the 12 rules in a nutshell. Now remember, not too much detail, not a confusing number of alternatives, but a roadmap, a route you can follow to get to your destination. So let's discuss each of the 12 rules and how they interact. And this is going to be done fairly briefly, because the purpose here is not to give you a whole lot of information, but for you to have a way of thinking and approaching the business that pulls it together strategically. Things that you will know, but I hope see in a very, very different and new light. Now just a quick reminder, focus on the key metrics, stay aware of the big picture, stay practical, link everything to key metrics, foster understanding in your business and amongst yourselves so that everyone knows how and what they contribute. This motivates people, by the way. It's not a denial of complexity. This is true in any business. There is lots of complex things going on. It's a method to focus strategically on what's important, not ignore complex. It's a method for any size business. Now, if I had to choose something to focus on, my first focus is profit, number 1. But my next focus would be people, starting with customers, but also employees. And with your employees, you want to give them some meaning and autonomy. Now, this appeals to the internal rewards. By people understanding the 12 rules and how they interact and how they support one another, it does what is naturally satisfying. You don't have to impose motivation from the outside. People get self-motivated. That is the golden rule for motivation. Get people to be motivated themselves by giving them autonomy to decide on how to help you achieve your major purpose. So let's quickly discuss the 12 rules and how they would interact. Now, when you use this for yourself, you could look at and saying, well, I need to motivate my people, number 3 of the bottom one. And to do that, they are taking actions in all these areas. I need to help them understand how important customers are. And you can see, you can use any of these in an interactive way. And if everyone understands this, how their role supports everyone else. But now, each action would have goals of its own, which would require further goals. So if you operate, there would be many goals. I'm not going to mention these because then I'm giving you an operation manual, which is not what I promised. And will bore you to tears probably. But all the actions when you operate needs to somehow support how you make profit, sales, product and service and customers. Now I'm going to repeat this every time. The same, you'll have measurements for when you market. But those measures should be linked very clearly to those metrics, the 4 major metrics. Then when you sell, the sales team could be linked into understanding how their specific goals and actions influences and has an effect on those 4 metrics. When you provide customer support, if they understand the 12 rules, they understand how they are in their specific goals, in their specific actions. How the 12 rules will help them to understand how they are important in your business and help support and help achieve the metrics. Now, similarly, when you research, develop, innovate, what innovations, research and development will meet the future needs to create specifically profit and sales, but the right products and gaining the right customers. Now, research and development will also influence all the other actions, because you can research and develop and innovate around anything in your business. In fact, all the things in the business will interact. But if we start doing a diagram of all the interacts, all we end up with is a spider web of confusion. Now, which actions are already done and guided by systems? So if you look at the support pillars, the first one, which ones could be systemized more? So you look at those major actions. Now, you may have a business diagram, you may have levels in your business and different tasks assigned. It doesn't matter how it's done, but these 5 things must be done. Which systems will have the biggest effect on profitability? So you go to metrics. Then people. Now, this is my favorite area because we cannot do anything without people. And we all know this. Without my people, I am nothing. But we don't always act that way. I say people, not HR. This expands it beyond employees to include customers, suppliers, and so forth. You get the idea. The question really is, who has your back? Who is in your team that supports you to achieve and do your actions and achieve your metrics? With employees, you can focus on 2 things. There's much more to focus on, but create meaning and give autonomy. This has been proven by research to work very, very well. If they understand their role using the 12 rules for business, they can see where they fit into the business and how they contribute, which gives them meaning. If they understand this, they can have more autonomy. They can make decisions in their specific area and role, doesn't matter how low in the hierarchy it may be, to actually make decisions that improves the actions and improves your metrics. Now, to lead and manage starts with what I just said, people. But it is at the heart of achieving organizational goals. Both of them, when you define those 2 things as achieve goals. Management by focusing on how you to use your resources efficiently, effectively, and to do good planning and organizing and leading and controlling. And then leadership by inspiring and influencing people, but both to achieve goals. 2 sides of the same coin. So the question is, if you tell people the 12 rules, tell them how they are contributing, create meaning, and then tell them how they can make decisions and give them some autonomy to make decisions in their areas to improve the business. Now, this was a brief overview of the 12 rules for business. I will now quickly demonstrate how the 12 rules can be used, whether dealing with, firstly, high-level strategic thinking or team building, secondly, thirdly, with sales performance possibly, and number 4, with the front desk and even maybe a call center. I will focus on 2 aspects, not exclusively, but I will say what is the goals people have and what are the actions they need to take. And this is something that you would find in the job description in much more detail. But if you keep on a strategic level, goals, actions. What must I achieve? What must I do? Now, the first one is vision and mission. Now, obviously, this is all about what you must achieve. So if you then look at it, vision and mission should incorporate as many of those 12 rules as you can. But your purpose is to impress stakeholders. But let's say who you want to impress. You want to impress yourself because you want to make money, profit and sales. You want to impress your customers, and that is a promise of good delivery and service and products, how you will support them, how your people will help them. You can see you can go through all those 12 rules, and each of them can be used to generate a mission and a vision that really inspires all the key stakeholders to say, yes, we're on board with this, we've got your back. That's really what you want from a mission and vision. And if people see themselves in their role and what they do in these 12 rules and how you appreciate them, you've got a team that's got your back. Now, team building. It's the next one. Now, a team will have a specific goal, and it may be given certain duties or tasks to do, or they may choose that themselves, depending on the type of team you have. But teams can be very close-knit, for instance, and they can focus on their goal and become a little silo, a little on their own. Using the 12 rules gives a team the awareness that they are part of a bigger organization, a bigger whole, and it reminds them and that its goals, the team's goals and actions should fit in and support the overall metrics and the actions. Now, this gives them a goal for their team, but something bigger that they will realize if we all achieve this, and if you have many teams who then keeps the 12 rules in mind, you have a coherence of actions across the business. The fact is that teams need to understand how they can contribute to the business beyond their narrow goals and how they can support others. And the 12 rules would be an ideal way to do this. Now, sales performance. Now, sales are often a key concern, and from my experience, often the key concern. No sales, no money, no profit, no bonus. The goal of any selling team is obviously sales, both dollars and value or volume. Gross margin is affected, for instance, by pricing. Now, if you have a very narrow approach and you want to get volume and get bonuses on the amount of volume of dollars you've sold, then you're not going to be too worried about the gross margin. But if you know the 12 rules as a salesperson and how you contribute, that will moderate the propensity to discount heavily just to get the numbers up. Now, there's many ways I know of avoiding this, but giving people this idea of that they are part of a bigger business with the 12 rules for business will make them make decisions in their own, for instance, sales teams that are in the interest of the whole business, not just their narrow silo. Now, knowing how they applied will enable sales staff to make decisions, as I said, that's in the interest of the business as a whole. A salesperson or sales team can be a valuable source, and this is the other thing, of market intelligence and feedback that is relevant to innovation, for instance. So the sales team, when you put them there in number 3, sell either the actions, they can influence what systems needs to be put in place, what innovations is required in the future. They can get feedback from customers, feedback to the operations about product efficiencies. You can get the idea, when people see their role, they can give feedback. Now, the next one is front desk reception. Now, this is, or that's even a person in the call center, and the one they just walk in, the other one they phone. But it's the same as before. A front desk person often interacts with everyone in the business. Knowing the 12 rules, again, enables that person to say, well, okay, I have to respond to people saying, well, where's the office, or who's there, can you phone them, can I meet them, I have an appointment. But people will come and talk to them and ask them many other things. If they know the 12 rules, they can act in a way, again, that is in the interest. They can play a supportive role across the business as they know what is a priority for the business. And this, again, makes them experience more meaning in the business because they can act more autonomously and make some decisions, again, that's in the interest of the business that achieves the 4 metrics. Now, that's the 12 rules for business. This is, in a nutshell, the approach I use when I coach, even think about business, talk about it. And I would encourage you to use it too. It doesn't replace all the other business systems, methods, planning, implementation you may have, and the complexity of business is not denied. But it does foster a strategic, team-based, and motivational approach. And you may, by now, want to know a bit more about my experience and qualifications. What credentials do I have to talk about this? But remember, you can experience my work firsthand when you send in a request, and as you said, you get both those 20-minute business strategy makeover and the 4 steps towards a total life maker included when you request the business breakthrough consultation. But now about myself. What are my experience and qualifications? Well, in terms of recent experience, I've been a business coach, strategist, lecturer, #1 best-selling author of this book that went #1 in Amazon, and I'm very proud of that. And in these 3 categories: small business, starting a business, and entrepreneurship. Now, my qualifications is a bachelor's degree in business, a master's degree in business leadership, and a diploma in operations research and statistics. So the master's degree is not a research one, it's like an MBA. It just took a bit longer than a normal MBA would take. Anyway, as a business coach, I've chaired the meetings of large business on a monthly basis for a couple of years. I've been a strategist and a sounding board for a CEO and many small business owners and even entrepreneurs and startups over a range of industries. Now, my skill is to help people think strategically, as you may have noticed, and to narrow down ideas to clearly focused action plans. So, although I say think strategically, you'll see from what I've put into my 12 rules for business, it is all about the frontline actions and how that all links. This makes me a very effective sounding board and strategist. As a lecturer, I've lectured in strategy, applied management, leadership, marketing, consumer behavior, international marketing, even in economics, which I love. Now, as an economist, I wrote research reports and consulting reports for both government and large enterprises. And I was a facilitator at workshops, large workshops, international workshops and seminars, and also a speaker at national and international conferences. Now, all this experience, as I said, makes me a very effective sounding board and strategist. And there you have it. Business coach, strategist, lecturer, economist. Now, let me give you a more detailed view of my free resources. Firstly, the Business Breakthrough Consultation. Now, in this free consultation, you will experience how I coach business owners and managers. I focus on the 4 metrics: profit, sales, customers, products, and services. It's about your priorities and aspirations. It's about clarity of purpose. It's about maintaining a strategic perspective, setting clear goals, and key milestones. Now, this is what you get from me: an external perspective, a sounding board. Why do this? Well, it allows you to experience more than you've just done my approach and services. You get real value, you see how I perform, and you can see that this is no sales pitch. Remember, at any time, just send in a request. Now, let's tell you about my 20-minute business strategy makeover, a big claim. By just answering 7 critical questions and watching the accompanying video, you can assess your entire business in under 20 minutes. Now, let me tell you about my 4 steps towards a total life makeover. This is not a comprehensive program, but a few techniques which, if acted on, could make the difference, more difference than a library of knowledge. Because without taking action, nothing helps. I focused it on hope. Facts in the world support that we have reason to hope in this world. This is beyond business. We can create purpose in our life, but also, of course, in business. And there's a way to do this very simply. Achieving goals rather than just setting them. And then lastly, create resilience. Now, I believe if we do these 4 things, we will achieve greatly. This comes from my frustration that a narrow focus on business, without looking at the wider family and other friendship implications and purpose of life implications, makes us little drones. But if we understand how we can have hope, purpose, achieve more, and have resilience in life, but also in business, our business becomes more meaningful because our life is more meaningful. Now, I've given you, I think, quite a bit of value with the 12 rules for business, which is probably reinforced that business is easy to understand. I don't think any of the concepts is new to you. The difficulty is actually making them work, and I think I may have given you a different perspective on strategic thinking for a small business environment or a team environment. The concepts are not difficult. The implementation is a bit more challenging. These 12 rules and how I approach them will greatly assist you to stay focused, avoid overwhelm, and manage strategically. And make sure that everyone in your business is on board and working towards a common goal with a common understanding. Now the future is in your hands. You can get excellent value for free from me. I've done my bit. Now it's your move. Request a free consultation and resources right now. All that's left for me to do is make you click that button. No, not really. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a very successful business and a great life.